grade 10s, other students who didn't make it into school last term. Janet Ouko is here with us this morning. Just Dennis coming in a bit. But why? What's the reason? Are we looking at monetary reasons as to why these students did not make it into school? Janet?
You know, we have said this time without number that the biggest barrier to education globally is levies. It is not unwanted pregnancies. It is not disease. It is not whatever else that anyone may want to convey. It is not hunger. It is not even hunger. It is not even emergencies. It is levies the world over. And that is why we are talking about 2026 right now. Are we in 2026? 26 today. Yes. We were having these conversations in the year 2000. In the year 1998 in Jomtien, Thailand. We were having these conversations in the year 2000 in Dakar, Senegal. That the biggest barriers to education is levies. And that is where governments agreed to enforce free education. And that is why we have Mwai Kibaki as our hero. Because he made a decision that many presidents cannot make. And especially presidents who look at public funds for gain, you know. They cannot invest in education. They cannot be patient enough to invest in education because you must be patient. And we have, the good thing is that we have lived the full cycle. Yeah. We have lived here when we have seen Gen Zs making this country proud. Yeah. And what did we all associate it to? Free education.
Free education.
In the younger generation, it is very hard for you to come across a child who did not go through to Form 4.
Yeah.
During when I was raising my children, it was very, very hard to get a nanny because all of them were in school. Yet, there were some years when girls were readily available. They've dropped out at class 6. They've dropped my own age mates. And I like saying this with a lot of humility. I went to school when we were about 87 at class 8. And I can tell you, it's barely about 13 or 14 that went to secondary school. Out of those 87, during my time when I was doing class 8, all those others did not go to school. Why? Because there was no free secondary education. There were fees. Pursuant. Why did my age mates? At least I was lucky because my father was a primary school teacher. He could afford to take me to school. But for those whose parents could not raise those school fees, they have lived with those consequences to date. And so, when we are discussing issues of education and people are thinking that we are emotional, we will tell you, no, we are not emotional. We will tell you, stop that insensitivity. Stop that greed. We are not asking you for favors. Yeah. We are asking you, can you implement the constitution of this country? The constitution of this country, Article 43 and Article 53. Can you implement those articles of the constitution that gives every child a right to education? We went further as a country ourselves and said, no, just stopping at a right is not enough. We did the Basic Education Act that said you have a right, but it has to be compulsory. Compulsory means that we are taking affirmative action because we know in our midst, there is a parent who does not have 100 shillings in their pocket.
Yep.
That does not mean that their child does not have a right to education. Their child still has a right to education. That is why even a responsibility in the Basic Education Act is given to the chiefs. It is the responsibility of the chiefs to sweep all children who are not in school. Because collectively as a nation, we know not taking a child to school is harming us as a nation. You're giving us a very ignorant voter who will make bad decisions of voting bad leaders. True. And we will live with the consequences as a collective people. And that is why we are saying education is a right of every child, and we are not begging. And we cannot discuss with William Ruto. We know how he arranges his priorities. And we have seen his body language. And education is not his priority. But we are saying it is our country. It is our money. It is our taxes. And you are going to arrange those priorities according to how we want. Otherwise, we bless the Lord for an opportunity 5 years, every 5 years. Because in 2027, Kenyans and parents of this country and children also, because by the time he took power, their children who were in grade 8, now they are voting.